She writes, don't let Trump pretend he has been vindicated. Michelle writes, the Mueller investigation is over, and the only people close to Donald Trump who have been criminally charged are his former campaign manager, his former deputy campaign manager, his former personal lawyer, his former national security advisor, his former campaign foreign policy advisor, and Roger Stone, the president's longtime friend and strategist. That's all. There is a quotation in that brief summary of Mueller's work, the summary that was issued by Barr that I've been talking about. And the quotation says, quote, while this report does not conclude that the president committed a crime, it also does not exonerate him. So naturally, the dumb fuck in the White House immediately sent out complete and total exoneration, which in Trump speak, and this is true because he's a gangster, in Trump speak, all that means is, hey, I got away with fucking everything! Yeah! Mafia Dons used to get away with everything too. How many times? Do you remember? Are you old enough to remember? I don't know if you're old enough to remember. Maybe you've seen enough film footage from the bad old days of the 50s and 60s when mafia boss after mafia boss was put on the stand or put on trial, charged with everything from illegal gambling to murder to running houses of prostitution to tax evasion to gambling, illegal I mean, just fucking on and on and on. And were found not guilty. Mainly because the members of the jury were terrified to come back with a verdict. Guilty. So again and again and again, these gangster fucks got away with everything. I even remember a few of them who would show up for their trials with blankets pulled around their shoulders and a phony kind of hand trimmer and in a wheelchair and drooling, you know. And earlier that morning, they'd been humping some 22-year-old girl that some asshole brought in for him. But into court, is it Wednesday? Is there a bathroom near? Remember that? I do. And even though the person's sitting there, how many times did John Gotti beat the system before they finally got him? How many times did his fucked up son beat the system before they got him? But before all that, there was a guy named Joe Valachi. Remember him? You old enough? Joe Valachi. A made man in the mafia. Unheard of. This shit never happened. And he spilled his guts before an investigative committee, if I remember right. And then the evidence was carried into court. I think I've got that right. And gangster after fucking gangster after fucking gangster went down. So Trump and his cadre of liars, thieves, and bandits, they got away with this one so far. We don't know what's in the report. I keep coming back to that. Nobody, not even William Barr, knows what's in the report. That round little fucker hasn't read the report. Get out of here. But according to what Barr wants us to believe, it's all over. And according to what Trump is absolutely convinced of, no collusion, no collusion. Lock her up, make America great again. Blah, 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 blah. Right? Michelle Goldberg writes this. I won't pretend that the weekend's news was not very good for Trump and dispiriting for those of us who despise him. Whatever else is in the Mueller report, it says, according to Barr, that the investigation, quote, did not establish, end quote, that anyone from the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in its interference in the 2016 election. The Russians did it all by themselves. Yeah. The overtures we all know about, the Trump Tower meeting, Trump's public call for Russia to obtain Hillary Clinton's emails, which Russia hackers tried to do that very day, were not part of a crime, or at least not part of a crime that the special counsel could prove, because he's not a special prosecutor. There would be no bringing this wretched presidency to an early end. On the contrary, Trump is now emboldened and his foes momentarily defenseless. My opinion here is that we are in, right now, at this moment in American history, we're at a crisis crossroads. I mean, we really are. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here at all. We are at a crossroads. We have a gangster president surrounded by gangsters. His family members are gangsters. Every fucking person who advised him is a gangster, like the campaign chairman, the deputy campaign chairman, his personal lawyer, national security advisor, former campaign foreign policy advisor, and let's not forget Howdy Doody, Roger Stone. They are all criminals. But Trump, at the center of this criminal enterprise, squeaky clean, like John Gotti. Christ almighty. Michelle writes, until the Mueller report is publicly released, however, it's impossible to tell how much of Trump's victory is substantive and how much is spin. The report evidently leaves open the question of whether Trump obstructed justice. In his letter to Congress about the report, William Barr, not Mueller, William Barr said that he and his deputy, Rod Rosenstein, made the determination that no obstruction of justice occurred. Of course, last year, the same Barr wrote the memo calling Mueller's obstruction investigation, quote, grossly irresponsible and, quote, fatally misconceived. You suppose that's why Trump appointed him in the first place? Michelle writes, and I fully concur, there is no reason for anyone to take William Barr's finding seriously. No reason whatsoever. Michelle goes on, even some of the underlying question about Trump's relationship with Russia remain open. Here, those of us who had hoped for more than from Mueller should be mindful of the temptation to grasp at straws. On Friday, when the news broke that Mueller wasn't recommending any more indictments, many of us immediately asked whether there were sealed indictments. There weren't. Are you sure, Michelle? As we parse Barr's letter, we should be aware of the human tendency toward motivated reasoning. I want to believe it because I want to believe it. But we should be equally aware of the media's tendency to capitulate in the face of Trumpian triumphalism. Recall the pressure to give Trump credit after his first meeting with Kim Jong-un, despite the emptiness of the resulting so-called agreement. Remember that? So Michelle writes, we shouldn't overlook the fact that when it comes to Trump's relationship with Russia, William Barr's letter speaks only to very narrow questions about Trump's campaign involvement in Russian information welfare operations in 2016. It does not address the deep involvement. Who was it? That little son of a bitch, Trump Jr.? Or was it the dumb brother, Eric? who said, "Oh yeah, we don't, years ago, in 2004, yeah, we don't care about American banks anymore. We have all we can handle from Russia." Remember that? William Barr, not Mueller, William Barr wrote that no Trump associate conspired or, quote, knowingly coordinated with the internet research agency, the Russian troll farm, that spread the pro-Trump and anti-Clinton propaganda. According to William Barr, nobody in Trump's crime family knowingly did any of that. Nah, they were talking about adoption. Barr also wrote that the special counsel didn't find that Trump associates, quote, conspired or coordinated with the Russian government, end quote, in hacking into the DNC's computers. But nobody thought the Trump campaign did have a role in the actual digital break-in. That was handled by Trump's associates in Russia. Anyway, to finish up what Michelle Goldberg wrote, assuming William Barr's summary is accurate, it means that while Trump was installed with Russia's help, neither he nor his campaign assisted Russia in committing the crimes that aided his ascent, which is impossible. We're still in the dark, however, about all the steps Trump took to thwart the investigation and about the extent of his vulnerability to compromise. On Saturday, the left-wing writer Matt Taibbi published a widely shared essay calling Russiagate, quote, this generation's weapons of mass destruction. In other words, a national security hoax abetted by a credulous media akin to the one that justified the Iraq War. Matt Taibbi wrote, quote, the biggest thing this affair has uncovered so far is Donald Trump paying off a porn star. Well, Matt, what can I say? Michelle says that's silly. The biggest thing this affair has uncovered is that throughout much of the presidential campaign, Trump was seeking to build a Trump Tower in Moscow. The deal had the potential to make hundreds of millions of dollars for the Trump organization, and Trump's lawyers solicited the Russian government's help to get it done. After the election, Trump lied about the deal to the American people. Vladimir Putin knew the truth, giving him leverage over Trump. Is that the only leverage he had? Or has. It's now up to Congress. It is indeed. And I wonder, is the Congress of the United States, whose constitutional duty is oversight of the presidency, do you suppose this Congress is capable of fulfilling its responsibility? As I sit here right now, my quick answer is no. Hey, Truth Seekers, Mike Malloy here on the Progressive Voices Network. We've got a deal for you. You can now subscribe to our new one-hour audio-video combination Malloycast for only $29 a year. But you have to act fast. This deal ends on tax day, April 15th. Since we're without any business managers now, 100% of your support goes directly to maintaining our nightly campfire. Visit MikeMalloy.com to renew or to subscribe. And thank you for all the ways you keep it lit.